for today, and let's pray. Dear Father God, we want to thank you so much for all that you do. Thank you for your goodness. Thank you for your mercy. Thank you for your loving kindness. And we speak about decision fatigue and how it affects all of our lives. We just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for all that you do. Um, and help us as we're talking about this to really have self-awareness. Where are we in our lives when it comes to this topic, and how can we get better? And I'm just so grateful and thankful for all that you do in our lives, God. Help us have a breakthrough. Maybe it's someone's story that they hear that allows them to say, hey, I can use that, or hey, I've also gone through that and I'm not alone. Help us to really look at what this decision fatigue is and how it affects all of our lives. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. All right. And so with that, so that we're all on the same page, I'm going to share our presentation for today and also show some videos, just to make it practical, for everybody that might not know what is decision fatigue. All right. And with that, we were talking about decision fatigue today, and some scriptures that I want to share with you. Isaiah 40:29. Isaiah 40:29. He gives power to the faint, and to him who has no might, he increases strength. Also, Philippians 4:13, I want to share with you as we start today. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. All right. And so, how it all started. The term decision fatigue was first documented by social psychologist Roy Baumeister. I probably said his name wrong, but I acted like I was, got it. Roy Baumeister, and he wanted to describe the mental and emotional strain resulting from the burden of making choices. That's right, the burden of making choices. The term decision fatigue also looks at the concept of ego depletion, first discussed by Freud. Freud theorized that our egos depend on mental activities, which involve the transfer of energy. Freud's theory of a mental energy model was primarily ignored until Baumeister studied mental disciplines at Case Western and Florida State University. Freud's mental energy model inspired Baumeister's work on decision fatigue and its impact on decision making. It says here that the experiments conducted by Baumeister demonstrated that mental energy is finite, especially regarding its impact on our self-control. Baumeister noted that when we avoid temptations, such as eating chocolate chip cookies, we cannot resist other temptations. For example, Baumeister noted that study subjects gave up more quickly when asked to solve problems, such as working on a geometry puzzle when not indulging their primary temptations. And so, based on these investigations, he concluded that willpower was a form of mental energy that could be exhausted. His experiments confirmed that the 19th century assumptions that willpower was like a muscle, which eventually became fatigued by use. And so, what is decision fatigue? What is decision fatigue? According to registered psychotherapist Natasha Duke, decision fatigue is a phenomenon where the more decisions a person makes over the course of a day, once again, where the more decisions a person makes over the course of a day, the more physically, mentally, and emotionally depleted they become. I'll say that one more time. Decision fatigue is a phenomenon where the more decisions a person makes over the course of a day, the more physically, mentally, and emotionally depleted they become. A person experiencing decision fatigue struggles with executive functioning. This can have a wide range of consequences, including impaired judgment. Okay. And so as we continue on, and for those that just jumped on, we're talking about decision fatigue. I just gave the definition. And so once again, so that you didn't miss it, decision fatigue is a phenomenon where basically The more decisions a person makes over the course of their day, the more physically, mentally, and emotionally depleted they will become. Okay? Various sources suggest that the average adult, listen to this, that the average adult makes 33,000 to 35,000 total decisions each day. What will you eat? What will you wear? What we will say and how we will say it. Can you imagine 33,000 to 35,000 total decisions each day? This happened automatically and simultaneously through the information we subconsciously stored about what is good or bad. Um, According to Harvard's business school professor, it suggests that 95% of our cognition occurs in the subconscious mind. This is by necessity. Our brains would short circuit if we had to weigh more than 30,000 decisions one by one. And even with how much work the subconscious does, we still see the stress of the decisions that we have to consciously make. Okay. And so I do want to just share some videos with you so that we can make this even more practical. But as we are about to share that, any initial thoughts about what I just shared? Like one person has any initial thoughts about what I just shared?
I'm just wondering if teachers make twice that.
That's a very good question, and maybe Danielle can speak to that because she gave me some number based off of teachers and how many decisions they have to make. Don, do you remember the number?
I don't remember the number, but actually in the teaching profession was the first time I was introduced to decision fatigue, like the term, because a lot of teachers were posting about having a lot of decision fatigue at the end of the day.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Don, for that. Sunflower, go ahead.
See, I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew this was real. I knew it because at the end of the day, I am always tired. And I knew it's because I make too many decisions. Like, this is a thing. And people really start laughing. Oh, you make too many decisions. Oh, you're tired for that. Yeah, hello. It's because you don't make enough. That's why you're not tired.
You're too funny. You're too funny. And so with that, let me just show you some videos to break this down even more. And so decision fatigue. By the way, give me a thumbs up if you can hear the. Can you hear the video on Ruthie or the sound? Okay. We share. There we go.
Hello everyone. Decision fatigue. Maybe you've heard the term in the news because famous individuals like Barack Obama, Mark Zuckerberg, and Steve Jobs mention this as the reason for them wearing virtually the same thing every day. In fact, this type of habitual clothing selection has become more commonplace in Silicon Valley and other influential places. But what exactly is decision fatigue, and why are people wearing the same thing every day? In this video, we will be exploring what decision fatigue is and the best way to combat it. Decision fatigue is the idea that you have a certain limit to the number of decisions you can make in a day, and that as you make more decisions, the worse you get at making decisions. In order to understand decision fatigue, first we must understand ego depletion. Ego depletion is the idea that we have a finite amount of mental energy and that self-control or willpower can use up that energy. Roy Baumeister studied this topic when he made test subjects try to solve an unsolvable puzzle. One of the test groups was made to eat radishes, while the other test group was made to eat chocolate chip cookies, while also both knowing chocolate chip cookies were an option. What he found was that the radish test group quit the unsolvable puzzle faster than the chocolate chip cookie group because they were not allowing their temptations of eating the more delicious option. This is because they were using their mental power to avoid temptation, and the energy used doing that wasn't being used for the puzzle. Other studies have shown that it is really purely the number of decisions one makes that alters decision making. For example, in one study it was shown that people were more likely to purchase a selection of jams or chocolates when given fewer options than many options. They were able to come up with a decision when there wasn't a lot of effort needed to make a choice. These customers also proved to be more satisfied with their selections as well. Decision fatigue can make our decision-making abilities worse and even make us not want to make decisions altogether. This can be for something as trivial as buying junk food at the grocery store because we have lost all of our energy to not be tempted by it, or it can be for something a lot more important. One study looking at judges granting parole found that, in the morning, judges made more favorable rulings for the people they saw. As the day went on, they made fewer favorable rulings, only seeing a reset of this trend after lunch. This can be attributed to the fact that judges are taxing their mental energy by making several parole decisions throughout the day and, therefore, are relying more on heuristics and are making less nuanced choices. The reset of the favorable ruling trend after lunch can be attributed to the fact that they have just increased their glucose levels from their food and restored energy to the brain. Another study looked at business analysts. Research found that as analysts made more forecasts throughout the day, their forecast accuracy decreased. As analysts grow tired, they increasingly rely on their heuristics to make more autopilot decisions for them.
Are you guys still hearing the video or it stopped?
It stopped now, but we heard it before.
Okay, hold on. Do you hear it now?
Which might impact the accuracy of their
Yes.
models.
Okay.
For both judges and analysts, they've opted to make safer choices when faced with difficult decision making as they grow tired and their mental resources are depleted. Judges didn't let inmates out of jail, and analysts relied on their past forecasts to make newer models. However, relying on default thinking might be as bad as just not making any decisions at all. Kind of sounds like lazy thinking if you want to check out my video on cognitive ease. So, a lot has been said in this video about the problem of decision fatigue, but how can we solve it? How can we live with this in our lives? Well, if the problem is that making many decisions throughout the day makes our decision making worse, then we should first try to see how to make fewer decisions. This can be done by making habits, for example, choosing to wear a certain outfit on certain days. Or even more broadly, making routines, like deciding to go to the gym in the morning before work, making dinner right after work, and reading for an hour before bed. Then you won't be constantly wondering and deciding what to do throughout each day. You can also automate some of your processes. In this day and age, we have a lot of technology that can help with that. Instead of trying to remember when you have to pay that credit card or utility bill, set up autopay so you never have to think about when it's due. Or create lists. This can be done.
All right, so let's just stop right there for right now. In this conversation, but hope that was helpful. I thought it was very interesting too, and they give the example of the judge and the fact that their decision making was great starting out, and then as the day just went on, and got even more stressful. And so yeah, that is. I mean, it sounds so simple, but like putting a language to it, a label to it, and actually like saying, okay, this is definitely something I connect to. It makes a world of difference. And so we're gonna just reshare. I'm gonna share that question right now, and that question is basically knowing what we know now, what I just shared with you. Get ready for this question. We'll put in the chat. But the question simply says, on a scale of 1 to 10, how often do you go through decision fatigue? So once again, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being Devonte, like I am super stressed in terms of decision fatigue. I am at my wit's end. Okay, a 1 being every day is a walk in a breeze. Every day is a walk in the park. I don't have that much. And then with this question on a scale of 1 to 10, how often do you go through decision fatigue? With this question, you're gonna also give me examples of decisions that you possibly have to make throughout your day or even in this season of life. Okay? So think about that, and then we will take some responses in about 20 seconds and use that raise hand feature as we go one by one. Ten more seconds. All right. I'll definitely share that link to that video. While people are speaking, I will drop that link in the chat. Okay. Awesome. So with that, I see some responses in the chat. I want to call on, let's go with Archie first. Archie, you said a 10. And I kind of have a feeling why it's a 10, but I want you to share with the people why why you rated yourself a 10 in regards to this question.
Well, there's a lot, but I
Mhm.
feel like I'm naturally an overthinker. So I feel like there's already a percentage of my brain power that's devoted to that constantly. And then I'm also in a place or in a career where I have to make decisions for people on a constant basis.
Mm.
So it quickly starts to add up. And then by the time my day is done, um, depending on what's going on with family, friends, all those types of things, I have to triage through that. And then finally, at the end of the day, I have to figure out how to prioritize the things that I need to do before I head to bed. So by the time I'm usually at that point, I'm just pretty much done. It's hard to decide what to have for dinner. It's hard to decide, what am I going to do? Am I going to read? Am I going to journal? Those decisions start to become just too overwhelming to make. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And now that you even mentioned that, right? Because I can imagine because a lot of your capacity is put towards your career, your job. And not only that, like a lot of those big decisions have to do with people's lives, right? Imagine coming home, like you said, and now I have to think about what I'm going to eat, all these kind of things. And even those decisions, by the time you get home, you're exhausted, you're tired, can seem like those are like the biggest decisions ever. And so I can only imagine. They were talking about also that even with those that have a lot of hard decisions to make all throughout the day, that making even those smaller decisions a lot easier is so beneficial. So for some people, they make it a habit. Like if I'm gonna, like for example, work out, it's not if it's like, okay, this week I know that my habit's gonna be, for example, working out for the 3 days during that week, like setting up a routine for eating too. I imagine this. Sometimes I'm sitting in bed and I'm talking to Danielle and I'm like, well, if we're gonna go get something out to eat today, what are we gonna get? And then we go through this rabbit hole of, well, what do you want? No, what do you want? No, what do you want? No, what do you want? And then I was like, and then I go, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. And then she goes, well, I don't know what I want either. And then she'll suggest something. And then she'll be like, oh, what about olive? And I'm like, nah, I don't want olive. Nah, I don't want olive. And then it's like there's a list of things you don't want. You don't necessarily know what you want because you've had a long day. And here's another decision I have to make. Here's another decision I have to make. And then you're also wondering if I go to this restaurant, what if they mess up my favorite meal? Then we could have gone to this other place, that would have done it right. So I feel the struggle. I feel the struggle. I feel the struggle. Let me go call on. Let me see. Yeah, for real, right? Actually, you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's go to Danielle, then Clifton next.
Yes, that's incredibly frustrating when you don't know what you want, but you do know what you don't want.
Yeah.
So for me, decision fatigue is definitely at a 10. And I think it's solely because of my career. So I'm a teacher, which involves a lot of decision making. But on top of that, I teach students who are on the autism spectrum. And so a lot of my job is putting out fires. And a good special ed teacher with students on the spectrum knows that you are constantly trying to predict behaviors and environments that you can avoid and triggers that you can avoid that would help your child not to go into a meltdown or into crisis. And so I'm constantly trying to think ahead I'm constantly trying to think about sensory overload, stimuli, anything in the environment that I know can cause my students to be triggered. And each and every student has a different trigger. So then I'm trying to avoid those triggers. I'm trying to think about what each of those students need. And I'm trying to predict the future. And that's incredibly taxing to do for 7 hours a day and always get it right. And a lot of the times you can't predict everything that's going to happen. And any type of change in a routine for a student will also trigger them. So it's like, it's crazy, but I love the challenge. But I know that at the end of the day, like, I'm depleted. Like, there's nothing left in me because, you know, then you have to deal with the aftermath of that. And then I have the parents that you have to answer to them, right? So like, what happened and how did you handle the situation and what did you do and what could have you done better? And it's like it's like a revolving door of trying your best, figuring out what works, figuring out what doesn't work, trying to justify what you did, and then trying to do it better the next day. And so mentally, that decision-making process for me just overloads me and overwhelms me. And at the end of the day, I'm overstimulated. And then I'm like, I don't even care what's for dinner. I just want to go to bed.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And excellent point, Don. And even to that, like Danielle and I were speaking yesterday, even with the situation that happened. I forgot who it was, Don, but like imagine this. All the kids got out safely. It's a beautiful day outside, The day before it rained and everything, but this day it was a beautiful day outside, sunny. All the kids got out safely, and there was one person that made the comment, "Oh, I saw kids walking to a safe location, but they didn't have their coats on." And I'm just thinking to myself, like, the things you're worried about, like, they got out safely. Like, it's not a cold day outside. Like, everybody was, got a chance to move to a safer area at the high school. And this is what you're worried about, and it's like this pressure of perfectionism that like either bosses put on employees, and then it's just a pattern. Like, we're putting all these expectations on people, making them think that you have to be perfect in every situation, when everybody knows that deep down, no one's perfect in every situation. It's impossible to do. So let's go to Clifton and then Caroline next. I think Clifton disappeared. Oh, Clifton, I can't hear you, bro. I'm muted, but I still can't hear you. All right, while we're waiting for Clifton, I'm going to go to Caroline. Caroline, go ahead.
My BTN people. Hey guys.
Go ahead, Caroline.
Okay. My husband and I, we reached 11 years of marriage this year. And people say that 10th year. All right. Last year we had several serious conversations about, situations and behaviors and patterns that I had to take accountability for, and pay attention more. One of those things was for majority, if not all of it, my husband has done most of the cooking. I make, little pancakes here, there, get some scrambled eggs on a Sunday morning. You're welcome. Be blessed, right? And one day he came to me, he's like, Caroline, you expect for me to go all day working multiple jobs, including his regular W-2 job, make decisions on the household, pay the bills, all of that, get through traffic and everything, and then come home and make dinner. And in my head, I'm like, you've made it look easy all these years. What you talking about? Like, why, like, you make it look easy. And he was saying to me, that's probably my fault. So y'all, I've been trying my best the past couple of weeks. Well, let's say week to make dinner, and just watching him. It looks like, first of all, he's berating me and catching attitude because apparently I've been lying to him our entire marriage about how I can't cook. But I'm like, I could read a recipe just fine. So, but he looks lighter. Granted, he's still making them same kind of decisions at work, still running his own businesses and all of that. But to be on that tip where he doesn't have to think as hard, you know, and God forbid they shut down TikTok. All my culinary expertise finna stop, y'all. I don't know what's gonna happen, but yeah, because Danielle, and then additionally, made a point in the chat about being a parent. Good Lord. My babies wear the same clothes to daycare every day because don't nobody got time to be doing all of that. Maybe baby girl might wear a cute little onesie or some pretty frilly socks, but after that, here goes sleeper. Nobody got time at all. It's just it's just easier that way. And I never really thought of it that way. I just thought like it was a normal part of adulthood, and you know, it was just something we had to deal with. And then Don made the point about being a parent. I could not imagine doing other jobs where I had to make. Now I just work on a computer all day. Ain't much decision to it, but pressing enter and capital space, capital shift, and all of that. But when I worked other jobs like case management, and I had to make decisions, and I had to show up in court at my best, and then come home and be a parent. Now these kids is gonna fend for themselves. Okay. You get to the sink, fill up your water bottle, and stay hydrated somehow. Change your own diaper. So that's for real. So I appreciate knowing that there's a face to it, a number. You know, I feel like, you know what, I'm tired of making decisions today. I just thought like, okay, adulthood waited until I was an adult to be ghetto, and now looking back on our parents, you know, it makes me want to have a little bit more compassion, you know, because I could only imagine the things that they were dealing with the tools that they had, you know. Because I think we have a tendency to be overly critical of our parents and looking at the traumas they caused us and the things that we in therapy for and whatever. But as we're adulting now and we are experiencing life for ourselves, okay, yeah, we are surviving what? All the genocide that's happening in the Middle East, and we're surviving inflation and trying to buy houses that should be 99 cents and working jobs where the cost of living is moving faster than the cost of life, right? But then we look back at our parents, you know, surviving the war on drugs and the crack epidemic and Vietnam War, Cold War, you know, being immigrants in a foreign country for those whose parents were born abroad and were transported to America against their will, you know. Those are just some things that put things a little bit more in perspective for me. So I appreciate this. I appreciate BCM always. And on that tip of not knowing what to do for dinner, but knowing what you don't want, that is my husband, y'all. I could give 17 suggestions and he don't want any of them. And then it's like, sir, you don't know what you want to eat, but you know what you don't. You know, Caroline, I had a chicken sandwich yesterday. I don't want pasta today. Goodbye. You're not hungry enough. Just make up your mind. You want some tenders and fries? Like, what you? I'm about to start treating you like my son. Like you my son. You want this pouch? You want some yogurt? You want some Go-Gurt? Ooh, I've never had a Go-Gurt. I'm gonna go get one. I'm an adult now.
So good, so good.
I can eat string cheese. String cheese used to be food for rich people. Anyway, that's my contribution to today's session. See, y'all, I kept it coastal. You know, I'll get ratchet next time, but this time it hit me in the field. We is tired, Jesus, tired. And these bills you paid for, they giving it to us in paper. Okay, anyway. Thanks, guys. Goodbye. That's the conclusion of my speech.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. They're dying over here at Caroline's comments. And
You
then
see, I try to
Aruthi's
stay on
making me
topic, right? Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
and
Ruthie in the comments, you know.
yeah, Aruthi's making me laugh even more because she's cracking up.
I got stuck on changing its own diaper.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Janice, go ahead.
Hey, I didn't have too much to say. I just wanted to piggyback off of what Danielle said about like having to have like a reason for our decisions. Cause I think that as a teacher, yes, you're making 1,000 decisions, more than 1,000, obviously, since we got the numbers. But the other issue, and I guess it depends on your administration, but it's not just the administration, it's also the parents, because you're accountable to all these people. So like, let's say you make a decision and it doesn't go the way that you anticipated. Now you got to be ready to explain why you chose that and why you didn't choose something else. So I think another added layer to being a classroom teacher, just a teacher, anybody who interacts with children all day, is that not only are you making these decisions, but you also have to be thinking multiple steps ahead, because you have to think about the consequences of the choice that you make and how you're going to explain it if it goes wrong. So I think that's like another added level of pressure. And then I was thinking about what Caroline said about parents. It's true, we judge our parents so harshly, like, why did my mom do this, or why did my dad walk away, or blah 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 blah. But we don't realize that they too are human, and they were making lots of decisions, and they're, you know, they didn't have Google to look up to see what's the best parenting style or what's the best option to do X, Y, and Z. So I think we have to have a little more grace for them as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thanks so much, Janice, for that.
Janice, they didn't have TikTok, they didn't have Facebook groups, they didn't have Amazon, they didn't have Zoom. They was just winging it off of a prayer in Jamaican proverb. That's just and cornmeal porridge.
If they were lucky, if they were lucky, they had books, but who had time to read them?
Okay, so in this order, Clifton, I see your hand. So go ahead, Clifton, and then Clifton, Sunflower, and then iPhone, which might be on Marion. I'm not sure. Go ahead, Clifton.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm happy that you like everyone else, pointed this out, because on a scale of 1 to 10, I feel like my decision fatigue is probably about 7. Which also explains why, like, I need naps. Like after work, I need to take like, if I'm not gonna drink like more coffee or whatever, and even then, if I drink more coffee, I find that like I'll continue, but I'm not thinking. I'm just like, if I have to clean, I can like drink more coffee and continue. But if I have to like go to the gym, it's not gonna work out well for me, because even though like you can go to the gym and get your workout in, like if you're really trying to like get your workout in, you have to like focus on, what muscles you want to engage. And sometimes you just end up having like this really poor workout. So, but yeah, for me, you gave a lot of great examples. Like for example, when I was working from home, I wore the same shirt every day, and of course it's like you work from home. I get it, but like sometimes when we got on the meeting, I'd have to remind myself, oh, let me put something else on, so these people don't think that like I'm just like a dirty person because I just wear the same clothes every day. I call them my work clothes. But and then for like food, like I'm how like you see how you and Danielle, you guys are talking about like, what do you want to eat? I don't want to eat that. I don't want to eat this. Sometimes just to like get out of my head, I'll eat something. So whether it's a leftover or whatever, and as soon as I'm not hungry anymore, I'm not even thinking about that decision anymore. So I'm just like, let me just. But then again, I've been like, it's not teased, or not teased, but like, it's not teased, but just like you're analyzed in the sense that like my method of eating is boring. Can it be more exciting? And I'm like, I don't want to think about it. I just want to be not hungry. So if I could just not be hungry, then yeah, let me just eat, whatever's in the fridge. I might not like it, but I know that when I'm done eating it, I'm not gonna think about it anymore. But I think a lot of those things can be avoided and resolved if you like take the time to create menus that use interchanging ingredients that you know that you can say, okay, this is the week, like the kind of the way that they do it in like the cafeteria lunchroom at like school or at work. Like they know, okay, this is week 1, we're cooking this, and this is week 2, we're cooking that. So they're able to like repurpose like ground beef and pasta sauce, and then repurpose ground beef and ziti, and then repurpose ground tacos all in that same week. And you're not eating the same thing, but you're also like not having a huge high grocery bill because you know, wanted to cook like, I don't know, chili today and then curry tomorrow and then like tacos the next day. And those are all different ingredients that like skyrocket your grocery bill and also give you decision paralysis as well.
You're speaking facts, bro. Yeah, and even with the food too, right? Like even if it's just cooking, you got to detail out how much time each meal is gonna take, and what if there's a tough day at work, you know? It can get stressful. I know some people that just do they do meal prep, or they get like those food services where they just package food. So, you were gonna say something else, Clifton?
I also was gonna say, not to mention for those people who try to like stick to a schedule, but today is an irregular day, so you were planning to have, you know, this well scheduled because you had like a fire first week. You're like, oh, this is great, I'm gonna do it again. And then next week on Tuesday, you know, you were supposed to leave at 5, but you end up leaving at like 6:30 or 7, and now you're like, okay, what do I need to prioritize that's most important for this day? And forget it if you have kids, because like if you have a goal and you know you have to feed them or something like that, then everything becomes like secondary to what you're trying to accomplish. It's exhausting.
Talk about that. In this order: sunflower, iPhone, and then Aunt Ruthie.
Yo, every single time somebody talks, I get so stressed because I'm realizing that this has been my life. But I haven't been able to put a name to it. And I haven't been able to put an emotion or like a thing to it. But now that I know, I'm very concerned because I was doing too much. Oh my gosh, my brain is exploding. Oh, wow. This is a lot. Yo, not me coming to terms on BTM with like the fact that I've had decision fatigue for probably like, I don't know, 34 years of my life, and that's how old I am. So like, it's been a struggle. And having immigrant parents and you being the one to do things for them, that's decisions too. You know what I mean? So like they come to you for help, but it's all the time. And it's all the time, and it's all the time, you know? So I've had a lot of friends that had to deal with that as well, to the point where they didn't want to help anybody. They were like, I don't want to help anybody. And I feel like I got to that point after I had Ella, because now I'm a mom and I'm making decisions. Like I'm making every decision for this little girl. There's nobody else, you know, besides her father, obviously, who's making decisions with me, but it's the both of us. And it's a lot because everybody is always like, okay, so this is for Ella, da 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 da. So what do you want? And I'm just like, oh my God, I'll make a decision too. Why is it just me? You know, so like my brain is just like, because it's her grandparents. I give you guys free reign. We're a village. If it's not, you know, affecting her in any way, then please just do it. Like, I don't want to make a decision. And on top of that, you know, being a veteran's wife, like my husband is a vet. So when we were in Colorado, imagine we were dealing with the unpredictableness of that, but then Ella was in school, so like I was balancing the both of them, and then he got in an accident, and when he was recuperating, he had to be by himself for a couple months because I was between Massachusetts and Colorado. So just making that decision and just having to make those decisions, and then I gotta come home and it's just like, oh yeah, I gotta cook too. What? And not only that, Ella is autistic. So life with her is very unpredictable for me. So to the point where I can't have a job right now. So the only person working is my husband, because I'm the one that if something happens, I need to be ready 24/7, because um she's taking meds for seizures, like all these medical things. Like, we're always in the hospital, we're always in neurology. Children's Hospital knows us by now, like we're always doing these things, and I'm so tired. And when I express this tiredness, my dad, he tells me like, oh, well, you got this, I did this, it was worse for me when I was your age and I was doing this, and I'm like, bro, we're not the same people. Like, is your brain my brain? No, your brain is not my brain. You're not dealing with the things that I'm dealing with. It's like, I understand everybody has their own thing, but don't diminish somebody else's thing just because you can handle it. Because there are plenty of things that, God forbid something were to happen, you wouldn't be able to handle it. And me just experiencing all of these things and just listening to y'all talk, it's like I have been decision fatigued for most of my life. I'm a critical thinker. Like, I'm constantly analyzing things, so I'm physically tired. Imagine you spend a whole day, all you're doing is thinking, and you're so tired. I don't want to make any decisions at the end of the day. I don't even want to think about whether or not to take a shower, because the answer is going to be no. Like, try again. We'll do that the next day. Like, it'd be like that. And I don't even have time for self-care. And I'm over here telling people, yeah, self-care. Ooh, like, I'm bigging up self-care and I can't even do it myself. So it's just so infuriating. And making lists and doing a lot of things, like the routine, it helps, because I cook only 3 days a week. Cook 3 days a week, and I prep on Sundays. Like, I have to make a schedule Saturday and Sunday, prep food. I only cook 3 days a week. And then, my husband, he goes to the gym. I pick his gym days, and I also make overnight oats for him when he goes to the gym so he could have more energy. Like, it's a lot. This adulting is not for the weak, and it's just so much. And this has come at such a good time, because being a parent, being a wife, being a student, being a daughter, being a person is hard enough. Like, imagine if I had another job. Ella is a full-time and a half job. I can't have no other job. I will literally come in there just to cuss at everybody and then go. I would get fired, because I'm not being, gentle parenting. It's hard, okay? Because I have the spirit of a Caribbean man in me. So it's very hard for me to be nice, when I'm not feeling nice or when I'm not feeling kind. I always have to pray and ask God for strength before I talk to some people, because only God can fill me with calmness. Because after you are decision fatigued, you do not want to deal with nonsense. And that's when all the nonsense comes. So watch out for that. It's a real thing.
Thank you so much, Sunflower, for that iPhone.
Oh, hi. Yes, it's on.
Marion.
I just switch from device to device depending on where I'm walking around the house. But wow, this is just really good, and it resonated immediately because I know how my brain works. I'm just wired this way. I'm definitely a 10. But I also wanted to just say, first of all, Caroline, you are in the wrong profession. You need to be doing stand-up comedy all over America, making videos. You are very funny. And I also want to just thank those who acknowledge their parents, because I tell you, and you understand what parenting is like now for those who are parents. But like you said, back in the day, the stuff that we didn't have, the resources that we didn't have, and we're just like doing it the way we think this thing is supposed to be done. And and it is hard. I raised 3 children that were all just like 17, 18 months apart. Became a vegan, went, full-time ministry, homeschooling for the first couple of years. And then I said, Lord, deliver me. I mean, it was a lot. And the way my brain works is that I am not as organized as some people. It's kind of like I think about, okay, this is the way I'm going to do my day, and so I don't write it down. I just kind of like, this is how it's going to go. And it never goes the way you think it's going to go. You wake up in the morning, it's like, okay, today I'm going to do this, 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 and this in this order. And then something comes in and totally derails it. But I am fortunate that my husband does. It's just like, whatever you cook, honey, I'm good with. I'm just grateful that you'll cook. And so that's a good thing. The kids are grown now, but now we deal with their adult issues. So it never stops. It doesn't end. And it's wonderful because I adore my children, and I'm grateful that they trust David and I to be able to come to us with all kinds of, issues. But it's different, it's just, it's not changing diapers, but it is, counseling and trying to just help as young adults. But yeah, I'm definitely a 10. I wish I was that person who did the meal prepping and the all of that stuff, but I'm not. But this is really good and I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Aunt Marion. And yeah, the meal prep thing is not easy at all. And sometimes you got to eat the same thing for 5 days straight. After the second day, I'm like, enough,
But you know what? I'm that person. I could eat the same thing for 5 days, but but David's not.
By the third day, I'll be like, big chicken again? Oh my goodness.
Oh, amen.
Gosh, I feel that, Aunt Marion. Thanks so much for sharing. All right, I know I'm not the only one. It's all right. I know I'm not the only one. Go ahead on Ruthie, and then I'm gonna play this video and then head to our second part of the service.
So before Aunt Ruthie starts, you trying to hire me for the retreat, Pastor?
For stand-up comedy.
Little something,
Listen, if you can
we'll
come.
We'll talk.
Yes.
Let your people come and talk to my people.
Let your people talk to my people. We'll let the team know. Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna let you know though. I'm gonna sit in the back though. I'm gonna sit in the back. Because if I sit in the front, people won't see me laughing hard. So I'm just gonna sit in the back so I don't cause a distraction. By the way, I think I went to go see Bill Bellamy. Is that his name? And then Daniel had to do a prep talk, like, with me before I went in. Because she was like, listen, I know you haven't gone to these stand-up comedy things, but if they see you laughing and they see your body moving, they're going to notice it right away and pick on you. And I was like, wait a second, really? I thought they would, like, enjoy the fact that I'm laughing at their jokes. But she said, she's like, that. Make sure you calm your body down because you will be like a target for them. So I learned my lesson. Yeah, Lorraine looking out for me because she knows I'd be like, shaking in the chair, shaking in my chair, But she was looking out. All right, go ahead, Aunt Ruthie.
Wow. Devonte, once again, excuse me for being I don't know, but I have to thank you for allowing the Holy Spirit to lead you because I was wondering, now why we have to think about decision making? And then you've brought it so clear. I didn't even know there was a name for this type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it has caused a lot of stress and duress in my life. I believe that one of the reasons why I'm on high blood pressure medication today is because I lived in a place of, overdrive. Always. And, someone was talking, I think it was Janice that was talking about as a teacher, how you have to Oh, it was also Danielle. You have to prepare ahead of time. And when you're young, you know, you have it and you have everything in succession. You plan out your day, you plan out what the children, how you're going to respond to the children when they do this, etc. Right? And then there comes a time when you're just exhausted and you can't think anymore. You just can't, especially if you carry the load with you home, which they always advise you as a teacher, don't take the load home with you, right? But you do carry it home because you care. All right. And then you have, I wrote it in the chat, but I think it merits saying it again. You have your own personal standards for excellence. Okay. And when you're not operating in that space, that's another stress, or that's another load that you're carrying on your back. So you walk into school with a load, even though you might take the whole half hour that you drove down into school trying to calm down, you know, and then you walk through the day with a load. It's nice sometimes. I mean, you have high moments and stuff, but you always got this load. You know, and then some teachers, and which is the reason why I decided to retire early. As soon as they retire, like age 65, some terrible illness overtakes them, or they die, or, you know, well, that's it. They either ill or they die. You know, I didn't even know that there was a name for this type of thing. But once again, thank you for bringing it up. You know, I always felt like I was wrong, you know, and in addition to that, if you're from the type of environment that most of us are from, living in a West Indian home, you're around people who are troubled, you know, not that they're bad, but they're stressed. And they pass that stress on to you when you are not fulfilling their needs as the way that they feel that you should be. You don't show up here or there, or whether you're not doing what they asked you to do, you know. So it's really something. And you know, I was thinking about it the other day. I thought it was just that I was lazy or incompetent or something, but it's the fact that we have to make all these decisions.
Absolutely. And even think about some of our generations that have come over, right? A part of it is, like, for example, if you're coming from a different island and you're coming over here, you may not have a lot of grace if you make certain decisions, and you have people depending on you, right? And so certain things have to go in a certain way. You have to sometimes make decisions based off of safety and security, or what's secure, as opposed to taking a chance when in reality, if this thing goes wrong, you know, you might be affected for the next 10 years or so, and so on. So yeah, there's definitely some grace to be given with these decisions that we have to make. And another aspect of this is the fact that the pandemic, right? The world was used to going about in a certain specific kind of way, and people were already struggling trying to figure out life then. So on top of the decisions that had to be made pre-pandemic, the pandemic came, and now we had to take on the decisions that we were already making that were already tough. And now we have to figure out a new kind of life with a whole set of new decisions.
Yes.
Which is probably why you see even more anxiety with you know, even younger generations now, Gen Z, and then some of Generation Alpha. Some of them are like, at the oldest right now is age 13. But you see that factor. Like, this is what life was before. Now life has changed, and now I have to figure out, how do I navigate this when I was still trying to navigate normal. Go ahead, Marion, go ahead.
I just wanted to say something before.
Oh yeah.
And there's something else with the Caribbean, or living away, you know, coming into a new environment. What is the term when you culture shock? Culture shock. So most of the parents, my generation, were going through culture shock while raising your generation. Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. All right, so let me share this video. I think that was an old
Devonte, I'm really talking about her generation experiencing culture shock. Them folks thought they was back home talking about some go outside, grab that switch. Ma'am,
It's America.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So with that, let me share with you this video as we continue on, and then I'll share with you some more information as well towards our next question. All right, so here we go. I think this is CBS News New York. And here's the news for tonight, even though it's morning right now. Well, afternoon.
Decisions. We all make hundreds, even thousands of them on a daily basis.
And it can all add up and wear a person down. But there is at least one simple way that you can put a stop to it and avoid decision fatigue. Jillian Small on different days, but always in virtually the same outfit.
So I have 3 of the similar sweaters to what I am currently wearing now.
The public relations executive has a closet full of the same clothes and says that there's zero guesswork when it comes to what to wear to work each day.
I can just wake up. I know exactly what I'm going to wear every day. I just grab it and I go.
She says it's a strategy to cut down on decision fatigue, feeling overwhelmed from constant decision making, freeing her up then to focus on things that matter more.
I've been able to apply my decisions to other more important aspects of my life.
And she's not the only one. Mark Zuckerberg wears the same thing every day for the same reason. Even President Obama only wears blue or gray suits, saying, I don't want to make decisions about what I'm wearing because I have too many other decisions to make.
You've got to be choosy about choosing. So.
Dr. Sheena Iyengar, who studies choice making, says it's a smart move.
You want to cut down on the number of decisions you're making per day so that you have the energy it takes to focus on the ones that matter a lot.
She says decision overload can lead to bad outcomes.
So we start using shortcuts like I'll just pick the first one or the one that everybody else is choosing.
And there is science behind the phenomenon. Decision-making depletes the brain of glucose. That leads to less self-control.
Each time you make those decisions, you get less and less ability to resist impulses. Why? Because it's running out of glucose.
Experts say it helps to make important decisions early in the day and plan some downtime to help prioritize what's important.
Taking a time out, providing space in your day to give yourself an opportunity to think and reflect on what you're doing, how you're feeling. Certainly finding space to reflect, I think, can be useful.
Experts say limit your options. Too many choices can be just as overwhelming as the decision itself.
All right. And so with that, we stop my screen share. Clifton, I see your hand. Go ahead, bro.
Okay. So, sorry, I didn't know I was gonna get called so soon. I got you. So, in the case of that, Barack Obama, we'll start there. Wearing the same suit every day is not the same as wearing the same like outfit every day, right? And I feel like in our culture, that would definitely be seen as dirty, even if it was a different like outfit, but it was the same outfit. We'd be like, yo, you're dirty. But I kind of feel like I like that. Like, you know, I'm right now I'm wearing a shirt that I've owned for the past since I was like 17. And I put the shirt on every day, you know, to go to the gym. Like I have, you know, some gym attire, which is like the legging stuff, but like, you know, sometimes when it comes to gym, you know, sometimes the guys, they want to like, and the girls more specifically, they want to look cute. You know, they get stressed out just before they go to the gym. What am I putting on? Does this match? Some girls even go to the gym with makeup. You know, they got to make sure that their hair is done. I'm like, yo, throw that in a bonnet and get in there, get it done. You know, but for me, I think that if you can find yourself a nice little, you know, casual wear, whether it's like a Nike tracksuit, invest a little bit, and just wear that for the rest of your life, you'll be good. Less stress.
Yeah, so Clifton, I'm so glad you brought this up because I personally don't get it. Can anybody explain the women that go to the gym with makeup on, and I try and look cute to just work out and get sweaty. Maybe I'm missing it. Maybe I'm missing it. So there's a friend of mine. I went to the gym maybe like, okay, so this wasn't this month. It was like last month I saw her at the gym, and I saw her with makeup on. I'm like thinking to myself, I didn't say it to her, but I'm thinking in my head, why do you have makeup on and you're at the gym? Like, and it's not like a lot of people are even here, But anyway, let me just stop right there. Yeah. So, Ruthie, Natalie, go ahead. Oh, that was from before, Ruthie, or? Oh, you're on mute, Ruthie. Yeah, let me not let you go out like that.
There's something that I forgot to say, and the lady alluded to it a little in the video.
Yeah.
Wow, this is interesting. I wanted to respond to Clifton's. Let me respond to Clifton first, and to you. Why do women wear makeup to the gym? Every woman here understands why a certain type of woman wears makeup to the gym. Okay, she's trying to impress. Okay. So, and it's your fault, you guys. It's your fault. So there. Anyway,
our fault.
It's your fault. Let me move on. So,
I never said for somebody to put on makeup at the gym.
Yeah, but some people feel that this is the way to get what they want. Okay. I wouldn't do that because I don't like anything on me that makes me uncomfortable, right? Especially when you're sweating. And that's one of the reasons why I cut off my hair, because I couldn't take the sweat in my hair, Anyway, I digress. What I wanted to say was that I would encourage everybody to make time in their schedule for rest, like vacations especially. I think it's important to rejuvenate because of all these decisions that we have to make. I meant to say that earlier, but I forgot. Okay. Uh-oh, I started something, didn't I?
No. You didn't start anything. You didn't start anything already.
Yes,
you're still on this makeup.
No, I'm teasing you when I say that you're the problem. What I mean is it's to impress. It's to impress. We do it, anything that we do, we dress nicely so that, well, we want to be liked. We want people to like what we're wearing. Some people put on makeup because they feel that it makes them look better, so that's why. And they're trying to impress you guys.
Yeah. I hear you, but let me hear some of the other reasons. Like they might say the same thing as you are, Ruthie. It's like you're sweating and be like, oh, look at my makeup. Look at my makeup. Anyway, Natalie, Janice, go ahead.
I don't think that those people sweat, the ones that wear makeup.
Okay, so I think everything Ruthie said is true. Like they're trying to impress, and then it's also could be an insecurity thing. And then so my sister's listening into it, and she said, "What did you say?"
There's a crisis.
There's a crisis?
Yes, you never know when you're meeting your husband. You gotta get ready. Stay ready. If you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready.
Yeah,
I'm done. Your sister's hilarious. I'm done. So, okay, so in response to that, the guys here, Ryan, help me out here. Are there guys that are like they like, they like a woman coming with makeup to the gym? Like, let me know, and make sure you're on mute so I can hear every single word you're gonna say.
Yo, LOL. Yo, what's up, everybody?
What's up,
long
bro?
time no see. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like we could take like hours trying to unpack it, but I think for a lot of guys, you're going to the gym to get strong, whatever it is. Maybe you have some goals, maybe trying to lose weight, put on muscle, whatever it is. You see women there sometimes. I guess depends on the gym. Like you either have like some women there or like no women. Like I've been to the gym where it's just most of the time like women aren't there. So, but you see them there, and I think for some guys, like they don't even notice that you're wearing makeup, right? Maybe you have like a your foundation, your blend, whatever it is, like it's well matched, right? So it's not even like we can really tell. We've never met you to know the difference, or to be all up in your face, to be like, oh, I see the eyeliner. Like, you just, if you look cute, you look cute. Can't help it. It's you. We didn't do that. So the question is like, are we like looking for girls who have makeup on in the gym? No, I've never heard anybody say that before. I know I'm not. I think if anything, the first thing we notice is like you at a distance. So we notice like, your whole, head to toe. If he thinks you're cute, that's just what it is. So, but I can understand like, you want to be presentable when you get outside. You don't want to look crazy. I can understand that, there's like I think part of the gym is like, there's a self-conscious aspect to it. You know what I mean? And so, it's just part of the process. So, everybody's thing is different. I don't know how it's our fault. But I know it's a tongue-in-cheek. It's a tongue-in-cheek thing you're saying. I understand. I'm joking too. And I get it. It's a
Just
response
teasing,
type
right?
thing.
Just
Hmm?
teasing. Just teasing.
Yeah. I get it. So
No,
ladies,
so
like,
what I hear from you, Ryan, is that
yeah,
if the ladies choose to wear makeup, it's because it's of their own decision and nothing to do with the guys. That's what I hear from you, right? We're not putting
that's
pressure on them.
yeah. We listen. We're not putting pressure on you to wear makeup. We're not putting pressure on you to do your nails. We're not putting pressure on you to put on eyelash extender.
See?
I think for a lot of guys, like you'll hear them say like they're curious to know what their girl looks like without makeup. Guys can really appreciate that. Guys like what they like. Like everybody has an opinion, everybody has their taste. You shouldn't take it too personally. I promise you, there are dudes out there who think you're cute. You're not into them. That's okay. But they think you're cute, right? So yeah, there's definitely no pressure. Not for me.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, Ryan. They're going off in the chat and they're saying I'm adding extra things in. I'm not sure what these extra things are. I just wanted to say I'm reading this stuff in the chat, and it also says some men require their woman to get their nails done regularly. I don't know why. For me, it's just like, just make sure the dirt underneath your nails are clean. I don't care if you get them done. I really, please. But getting them done every week, I could care less. That's not like if you want to do your nails for you, go ahead and do your nails for you. But
Dudes be having all these expectations for women, but don't even be looking like somebody when they wake up in the morning. You shit on your barber one time, and now your hairline look crooked. Like it don't even, man.
What are these expectations?
This the expectation for women, right? That so many men have is to look flawless all the time, but y'all be looking crazy.
Here's the thing.
Women, as long some of them are delulu, right? But the expectations are sometimes perpetuated by men who have unrealistic expectations for women, but no expectations for themselves. Like, you're black. You should not be using 3-in-1 in the shower at all because the skincare routine for your face, you need to exfoliate, you need to do all of that. But you'll have holes in your drawers, but want homegirl to come to bed with lingerie on.
You're talking in general, right?
I've never made this claim, Candace.
Ryan made it clear a couple BTM sessions ago, talking about something everybody need to come on camera. How you on camera and you ain't use no lotion?
Go ahead,
You watch that
Ryan.
do
Go
rag.
ahead. Go ahead, Ryan. Go ahead.
If I'm, yeah, thank you for sharing. Thank you for your honest feelings. I feel where you're coming from because it's like it feels disproportional, right? And it's like, what's up with that, right? Me personally, I'm of the opinion like if you come on to BTM with your bonnet, I prefer that over no visual, right? Because it's we're at home, we're in the crib. Like I don't go outside like this typically. I have my do-rag on. People will have an opinion. It is what it is. Um, I'm not moisturized. I moisturized last night. I didn't moisturize this morning, and you're right. But the thing is like for me, um, I it's a you got to start yourself first and then outward. So for me, because my face is not moisturized, I do not have the internal feeling that I must not show my face on the thing, right? But girls know, some girls may know, they make observations that my face isn't moisturized, right? And then the only way I find that out is like, say if I'm talking to someone, blah blah blah, girls will have a way of saying things without saying things, and the way they do it is they'll buy you some CeraVe, right? Here's some CeraVe.
That's
You
right.
should use it
I
in the
gotta go
morning.
off camera.
Here's some CeraVe. Here's some hair stuff. Why don't you come with me to this hair expo? Or why don't so that's how they say things. At least that's how it's been said to me. And then sometimes they'll verbally be like, hey, you have some dry stuff here, there. And I'll be like, hey, you're right. I don't know what to do about it. And then I get, this great advice, and it's fantastic. I have been to a expo type thing, and I have some hair stuff, and it's been amazing. It's been amazing. I used it last night. She said I'll give because I can't wait. I can't be seen with you like this. And Caroline, that's fine. That's fine. That's how you feel. That's how you feel. I can't that's how you feel. So you have a standard, right? Everybody has a preference. Don't know what to say. But I'm of the opinion that like I rather see your face however it is, fresh face, not moisturized. Your hair could look crazy, but like we're not that close yet. You know what I mean? So it's like you can wrap your hair up. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And that's okay. Like I'm not going to judge you. You might feel uncomfortable, but I'm not. Summer's come. Oh, hold on. There's more going on. Fellas, don't be wearing hoochie daddy shorts with unlubricated kneecaps. Thank you, Caroline. Yes, we will do our best to keep lotion and stay moisturized. Skincare is big. I learned skincare from the ladies. I learned hair care from the ladies. So you guys are ahead. So thank you for your opinion. I don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable. I show my face sometimes, dry, crusty, or not. And come as you are. It's BTM. Come as you are.
Come as you are, Jesus loves you. Come as you are, Jesus loves you. This guy said, Ryan said, oh, you come as this way. We're not that close yet. I'm done. That's where you lost. I started losing it with laughter. Okay. In this order, thank you so much, Ryan. In this order, Janice, Jasmine, and then we will move on.
So the teacher in me wants to bring the conversation back to the topic, but
yeah.
I'll very quickly say that I think it was Natalie's sister. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. Who said like if you're always ready, or if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. So going back to the gym thing, few years ago I was of that mindset. I didn't wear like full on makeup, but I always had my eyes done when I went to the gym. But I only did that when I was going to like Pilates or something that wasn't going to make me sweat, because nobody wants makeup in their eyes. That hurts. So that was like one thing. I could see how a lot of my friends who I would go to the gym with, they were that way, like, because you don't know, you might meet your next, boyfriend or whatever. So if you're going to the gym made up, it could be for several reasons. Some could be because you are actively seeking a partner. It could be because you just feel that you always need to look your best no matter where you are. It could be because you have something on your face that you're trying to cover up. It could be a lot of reasons. I don't fully blame guys. I blame society, because every magazine you pick up, every person on TV has been made up before they stepped into the frame. So that's just something that you as an individual have to decide whether or not you're going to subscribe to. But anyway, me now, the present me going to the gym, I don't care who's looking. I don't want anybody looking at me. When I go to the gym, I got work to do. Like, again, going back to the decision-making thing, I have work to do. And making decisions about how I look so that somebody who's looking at me could feel a certain way is not one of them. So I go to the gym. Actually, there's a pair of sneakers that I keep in my car to limit my decisions. They are purple, and I think they have like coral and black. And all the gym clothes that I have that I usually throw in my car, so I have them ready to go, are going to match that color scheme, because I do like to match. So it's very simple for me. I grab whatever matches that color scheme, and it's in my trunk. From work, I go to the gym, I live my life. So I no longer do my makeup or anything like that for the gym. So just to let you know, yes, there's growth. Not everybody does that. And yeah, I don't like having to make more decisions. So I do generally stick to like a certain set of clothes. I was thinking about that video about the woman wearing the same outfit. That could never be me, because I don't, I like to have variety in my life. But I was thinking a way to maybe apply that would be like, let's say if you always have like, I don't know, depending on what your job is, but let's say like you just have a pair of jeans and like a similar looking type of a shirt. And then you got Monday through Friday right there just lined up. So that's something that came into my head. Like maybe that could be a way to cut down on the decision making without having to wear the same shirt and pants every day.
Shanice. And then last but not least, we have Jasmine.
Hey.
Hey, Jasmine, good to see you.
Hey, good to see everybody. Ryan, okay, first of all, Ryan, I love the do-rag, okay? Keep the do-rag on. Never take the do-rag off, okay? Love it, love it, love it for you. To answer your question, well, Ryan put a question in the chat. Do you feel that someone would find you attractive without makeup when you go to the gym? It's not that I think, it's that I know, because I don't wear makeup to the gym and still mind my business, will be approached. So yes, definitely. I think we all know that guys will find you attractive sometimes, no matter what is going on. But what I was saying was, to answer Devonte's question, why would some people wear makeup to the gym? Personally, myself, I don't wear makeup to the gym unless, like I said, I'm coming from work and I don't have makeup wipes and I'm just going to the gym. And then I wanted to point out something that Colleen said. Some people are trying to cover up things, scars, acne, different insecurities. So that's a really, really valid point. And then I also agree with Aunt Ruthie's point about some people are trying to find a mate, a partner. So that is their way to set up themselves for success. And nothing wrong with that, nothing wrong with that. But just to answer Devonte's question, that was my answer. Sometimes you just don't have time to take it off from work, or those other reasons of insecurities. But I do not recommend it for health reasons, because you do need to sweat. Okay, that's all I have to say. Goodbye.
All right. Thank you so much, Jasmine, for that. Yeah, this is good. Hold on 1 second. Thanks so much for that, Jasmine and Janice. Sunflower, hold off 1 second. I'm gonna do this third portion, and then I'm gonna take your comment and then others. We're gonna transition, and as we continue to talk about decision fatigue, just wanna share some more stuff, some symptoms in regard to decision fatigue that you might definitely connect with, okay? And so you'll just see that in just a second. And then I want you to take a note of things that connect to what you're feeling as well, okay? All right. So this is going to be like this is a rhetorical question. While looking at the signs and symptoms of decision fatigue, which ones do you identify with? And so we're going to discuss just a few. So why does decision fatigue happen? Let's start there. Anyone can experience this, but it's most likely to occur when you make a lot of decisions every day, Judges, surgeons, and even quarterbacks are extreme examples of people that make decisions every day. Your decisions impact other people. Okay, so that's another reason why decision fatigue happens, because of the weight of the people that you might be carrying or the people that might be affected by that decision. The other people in question could be your partner, your children, your employees, the list goes on. Depending on your job, it may even be people you don't know. How about this one? You're in the midst of a difficult life situation. Picking out flowers isn't usually difficult, but if you're planning a memorial service for a loved one, it can seem impossible. Next one is you're faced with uncertainty. Notes that many people struggled with decision fatigue during the early days of COVID-19 pandemic because we didn't have much information about the virus and we couldn't know for sure what consequences our choices would have. And how about this one? This might be big for some people here. You might be experiencing this decision fatigue because of your perfectionist tendencies. When our standard is perfection for everything, and we're really thinking through everything to the 9th degree, that's exhausting and depleting for our brains. Okay? As we continue on, signs and symptoms of decision fatigue. Number one is procrastination or decision avoidance. If you forget the vet appointment, you won't have to decide whether to move forward with that expensive surgery, right? Putting decisions off or avoiding certain people or situations altogether is one of the most common responses to decision fatigue. You might be procrastinating and you don't even realize it. The next one is impulsivity. That could be another sign. If you have been making complex decisions all day, you could find yourself being less careful about other choices you have to make. Stopping at the drive-thru you usually drive by. Spending way too much money shopping online. Overlooking an obvious cognitive bias. Calling that X when you absolutely know better. Impulsivity can take a wide range of forms as a result of decision fatigue. How about this one? Exhaustion. Decision fatigue can be physically, mentally, and emotionally taxing. So it wouldn't be surprising for a person with decision fatigue to be desperate for a nap or a good cry. Brain fog is another symptom. Are you suddenly having trouble finishing your sentences? Has your train of thought left the station? Do you keep forgetting names or get distracted when people are trying to talk to you? Decision fatigue might be causing it. Irritability. Did you just bite your best friend's head off or asking where you want to go for lunch tomorrow? Yeah, you might be experiencing some decision fatigue. Overwhelmed. Are you starting to feel like there's no room left in your head, much less your schedule for everything you're juggling? You're getting overwhelmed, and getting overwhelmed is an issue within and of itself, but it can also be a signal of decision fatigue. Regret or dissatisfaction. You made the choice, but you're still ruminating about hours later and questioning the call you made. It could be the result of decision fatigue. How about this one? Physical discomfort. The stress of making a difficult decision can cause a wide range of physical symptoms, from headaches and eye twitching to nausea and other tummy troubles. Okay? So these are some examples. These are some examples of the signs and symptoms of decision fatigue. Actually, physical discomfort is one that I have too as well, because especially if I'm working on a project, when it comes to how it looks, the content being used, what I don't use, there's so many questions that come into that it can be I can start to get a headache, feel depleted. On top of that, I might forget to eat. And so I have to remind myself, go eat, chill out, even ask for help so people can help you in that decision making. Once again, decision fatigue for those that had come on a little later. Decision fatigue is basically what happens that the more decisions you have to make throughout your day, the more physically, emotionally, and mentally depleted you become. Okay? Some of these are the overlaps. I'm not going to repeat them. But and some other symptoms of decision fatigue. Lack of willpower. The candy bar instance in the previous section is a prime example of decision fatigue causing a lack of willpower. When it comes to making a hard decision, it may seem like all decisions are hard, but this gives minor decisions the same weight as important ones. If you're experiencing decision fatigue, for example, if you're a doctor, making a decision for your patient where their life is on the line can sometimes feel the same as choosing what you want at the end of the day for a meal because you've been making decisions all throughout your day. Decision paralysis. Clifton was talking about this. We like to think having choices is positive in a situation. However, decision paralysis results from having to evaluate too many options, weighing all the pros and cons, and then trying to identify the risk. Now imagine doing that for everything, okay? And so the why. Why do we succumb to decision fatigue? Decision fatigue impacts everybody, but a number of factors might be at play. Number one, hunger. Remember the adage, don't go grocery shopping when hungry. Although I've done that a couple times. And then you're looking like, ooh, look at that biscuit, or ooh, look at this. And then everything wants to go, you want to put everything in your cart. Hunger is a big factor in decision fatigue, often leading to impulsive decisions. Exhaustion, okay? This is a reason why we might succumb to decision fatigue. Stress. Some decisions are more important than others. If you're in a position to make a lot of complex and stressful decisions throughout your day, the accumulation of stress can put you at a higher risk of decision fatigue. Okay? And then here's one last thing I want to share with you. We try to make sure that we're always looking at this biblically as well, right? Even the events that we see throughout the Bible all involve a decision. They all involve a decision, from small ones to big ones, okay? Genesis 22, 9-13. This is Abraham and Isaac. It simply says, when they reached the place God had told him about, Abraham built an altar there and arranged the wood on it. He bound his son Isaac and laid him on the altar, on top of the wood. Then he reached out his hand and took the knife to slay his son. But the angel of the Lord called out to him from heaven, Abraham, Abraham. Here I am, he replied. Do not lay a hand on the boy, he said. Do not do anything to him. Now I know that you fear God because you have not withheld from me your son, your only son. Abraham looked up, and there in the thicket he saw a ram caught by its thorns. He went over and took the ram and sacrificed it as a burnt offering instead of his son. So Abraham called that place, the Lord will provide. And to this day it is said, on the mountain of the Lord it will be provided. Here's something that was a major decision for Abraham at the time. It involved the life of his own son. Do I spare my son and choose him? Or do I sacrifice my son and deal with the possible repercussions of that? What decision do I choose? That was an example of a major decision that put a lot of pressure and stress on Abraham. How about this one? Galatians 1:11-21, and it says, Paul called by God. This is Paul writing in his letter. I want you to know, brothers and sisters, that the gospel I preach is not of human origin. I did not receive it from any man, nor was I taught it. Rather, I received it by revelation of Jesus Christ. Even in that one sentence, it was a decision that had to be made by Paul to receive a revelation from Jesus Christ. As it continues on, for you have heard of my previous way of life in Judaism, how intensely I persecuted the church of God. That was the decision to do, persecuting the church, and try to destroy it. Verse 14 says, I was advancing in Judaism beyond many of my own age among my people, and was extremely zealous for the traditions of my fathers. Verse 15 says, but when God, who set me apart from my mother's womb, called me by his grace, was pleased to reveal his son in me so that I might preach him among the Gentiles. My immediate response was not to consult any human being. I did not go up to Jerusalem to see those who were apostles before I was, but I went to Arabia. Later, I returned to Damascus. But when God, to choose to serve God was a decision. Okay. Also, to not go up to Jerusalem was a decision. It says here that then after 3 years, I went up to Jerusalem to get acquainted with Cephas and stayed with him 15 days. I saw none of the other apostles, only James, the Lord's brother. I assure you before God that what I am writing is no lie. Here are just some examples of decisions that Paul had to make. How about this one? Acts 8:26. Acts 8:26 to 40. We're only going to read 26 to 32. But it simply says here, this is the story of Philip and the Ethiopian. It says here is that now an angel of the Lord said to Philip, rise and go toward the south, to the road that goes down from Jerusalem to Gaza. This is a desert place. Understand that in order for Philip to be told this, he has a decision to be made. Verse 27, and he rose and went, and there was an Ethiopian, a eunuch, a court official of Candace, queen of the Ethiopians, who was in charge of all of her treasure. He had to come to Jerusalem to worship. So while Philip had a choice to go to this desert place to make a decision, the Ethiopian also had a choice to come and worship in Jerusalem, and was returning seated in his chariot, and he was reading the prophet Isaiah. And the Spirit said to Philip, go over and join this chariot. So Philip ran to him and heard him reading Isaiah the prophet and asked, do you understand what you're reading? And he said, how can I unless someone guides me? Everything I just read was a decision to read Isaiah, a decision to basically interpret what the scripture is saying. And so, and the scripture goes on to say, and he invited Philip to come up and sit with him. Now, the passage of scripture that he was reading was this. Like a sheep, he was led to the slaughter, and like a lamb before its shearer is silent. So he opens not his mouth. In his humiliation, justice was denied him. Who can describe his generation? For his life is taken away from the earth. And the eunuch said to Philip, about whom, I ask you, does the prophet say this? About himself or about someone else? Then Philip opened his mouth, and beginning with the scripture, he told the good news about Jesus. He told the good news about Jesus. And so even Philip sharing the good news about Jesus is a choice, is a decision. As they were going along the road, they came to some water, and the eunuch said, see, here is water, and what prevents me from being baptized? And he commanded the chariot to stop. They both went down to the water, Philip and the eunuch, and he baptized him. Not only was it a decision for Philip to share the gospel of Jesus Christ, it was also on this Ethiopian to accept, make a decision to accept the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so all throughout the Bible, we're seeing small decisions, medium decisions, decisions that will impact the rest of our lives. Even decisions like this: love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind. That's a decision to be made. This is the first and greatest commandment, and the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. It's a decision to love your neighbor. And it's even more of a decision to love yourself. And then last but not least, even thinking about the sacrifice that Jesus Christ made was, I would call, the biggest decision ever. The biggest decision ever, to die for the sake of us, to die so that we can experience eternal life. And so those are all examples of decisions that we can experience. But before I share this last video in terms of the solutions, right? And some of the solutions that we've already spoken about, right, are setting routines. So for the small decisions in our lives, because we can't sometimes change the decisions that we have to make within our job, our career, some of the tips that we've already been giving is in terms of food, in terms of clothing, in terms of small decisions, how do I make sure that the gym, clothing, food, they can be a sort of routine that I create so that by the time I get to the end of the day, I can just fully relax. Everything is planned, everything is a part of a routine. And then the other difficult parts of my day, like my job or my career, can be what I truly focus on. Right. But realist, right? Planning ahead, I like that as well. So before I share this last video, what are some things that you have used for yourself to make it easier so you don't experience decision fatigue? Okay. What are some of the things that you have done for yourself so that you don't have to experience decision fatigue as much? All right, Joab, you're up.
Okay. Hey, y'all. Good afternoon. So that you mentioned, I think this was in a video, their first video, like earlier on in the service, but they mentioned technology, having technology do certain things for you. Like that has been very helpful for me. And then briefly, I want to echo like what everyone else was saying about like, especially from like the teacher side of it, where like you're mentoring and teaching students, since you have to like kind of make decisions, plan decisions or like make decisions on the fly. That could be a lot. But I've learned, at least personally, that the ones that I can outsource, where I don't have to be hands-on or manual with them, technology plays a big role for me with that. So, like I have like automations in my room to like turn on specific lights, so like to help me wake up, or like set alarms, or like to ask Siri to like schedule things for me. So like it helps me manage and schedule things a lot better. Um, and I mean I feel like I'm tech savvy, so why not put it to good use, you know? And like that has helped, like I said, just help me outsource certain things so like I could prioritize like other decisions. In my PhD in the beginning, I used to always go grocery shopping. That is time consuming. I don't have time for that. So I will absolutely settle with the fees for Instacart because I don't have time to be looking around shopping for, do I want this? Do I want this? Like I'll just look on the app. If I want this, throw it in a basket and let them bring it to me. So things like that have definitely helped. Because otherwise I'll just have so many other decisions I need to do and make. So that helps. That or has been helping for me.
I love that. And like, thank God, like we don't have to like go inside the supermarket if we don't really want to, right? Like we can literally just order it online. Like you said, like I'm like this, click, 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 click. Now, if I really want to, it's always nice going there every once in a while. But it's really, man, it's just whew. I just also love the fact that you have like automated things to turn on the light and those kind of things. My gosh, that's so good. That's so good. All right. Anybody else in terms of tips? Go ahead, Ashley.
I think to add to that, because I think those are all great ideas, is for me having a fallback plan, because I know for me sometimes like life can get real. So let's say I'm heading home and I'm just like, okay, I don't have time to cook anything. What's my safe fallback plan? Okay, so I have like a bag of salad, or my plan is to go to the grocery store and I have these three things that I get whenever I'm in this situation. Or maybe I go over to so and so's house and whatever plan I need to have. I think it's good for me to have something that I can fall back on in case something does come up, because even as best as I can plan for things, it doesn't always work. So yeah, that's what I would add.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, sis, for that. Let me see. I just want to make sure I don't miss anybody. Thank you so much, Joab and Ashley. All right.
People make decisions every day, hundreds of them. Some decisions are small, such as where to eat lunch or what song to play on your phone. Other decisions are large, such as where to attend college or which house to buy. People like to have choices, but research shows that our brains have limits. The more decisions we make over the course of a day, the more tired our brains become. Decision fatigue can have two effects. First, people might behave more recklessly as their self-control wears down, or they might shut down mentally and do nothing. Instead, they just accept the status quo. How can you avoid derailing your important decisions? I've created a simple framework that can help you guard against decision fatigue. I call it VERY, for very important people like you. You must consider values, automation, rational decision-making, and intuition. Let's look at each component. Start with values, or what's important to you. Since different people have different values, the best decision might not be the same for everyone. Think about these values in two buckets. Terminal values reflect the end results we want to achieve, such as happiness in our families, financial security, or social justice. Instrumental values describe the methods we use to achieve our end results. Instrumental values describe how we want to conduct ourselves, such as with honesty, fairness, authenticity, or kindness. After you determine your core values, think about which decisions you can automate, or which aspects of your life you can make self-moving. Less important decisions can be delegated or outsourced, but even some of your most important decisions can be automated, especially decisions that are so important you can't afford not to make them. For example, you can automatically have 10% of your paycheck go to your retirement savings before you see it. You can set an alarm for when you need to leave work to have dinner with your family. You can develop diet and exercise habits. You don't have to make a decision every time to eat certain foods or go to the gym. This is a secret of successful people. They spend less time worrying about choices because they've developed habits. They commit to a particular activity and stick to it, deciding in advance rather than exercising self-control every time. Not all decisions can be automated, of course. We also face complex decisions that require a more systematic approach. This is where rational decision-making comes in. We must think about our values, list our options, establish criteria for evaluating the options, assign weights to each criterion, and gather facts. Taking a rational approach has advantages, but some decisions require more than just plugging data into a spreadsheet. So, what happens when your gut tells you that the most rational decision is not the best? This is where intuition comes into the framework. Don't throw out your rational conclusions, but broaden your thinking to consider holistic associations, patterns, emotions, and assumptions. In a complex world, feelings and facts belong in the mix.
All right. So just give you some extra things to think about as well. And, even for those major decisions, as we're talking about, even intuition or, those major decisions, simply something that has never failed us yet is prayer. Like, God, what do you want me to do in terms of this major life decision that I have to make? Especially when there's no clarity, God, simply, what do you need me to do? Obviously, with other things, I don't necessarily go and when I want something to eat and be like, God, should I pick Olive Garden or cheesecake? I know I don't necessarily do that, right? But there's definitely a number of decisions where we need clarity on, like in addition to everything that we've been speaking about here, that we just simply ask God. It's something that has never failed us, right? And so yeah, so that will bring our service today to an end in terms of decision fatigue. Hope that was definitely helpful, and hope that you are more kind to yourself moving forward as well. Now that we've put a label to it, and we actually understand, well, wait a second, this is what the term is called, and I didn't know this is what I was struggling with. Whether it's a job, whether it's family that's making it tough when it comes to making decisions, whether it's just the season that you're in, right? Seeing, okay, what are things that I can't necessarily control in terms of I have to make these hard decisions, but what can I decrease in terms of anxiety and stress when it comes to the other aspects of my life? Hope this was a blessing. Don brought this topic to me and I was just like, we got to do it. I switched the topic I was going to do this week. But I thought this would be really beneficial. So we're going to pray, and then Candace will do announcements.